Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is huge. Probably the first time you're going to hear this ever. You'll hear, by the way, testimony from James Comey in a second. The statute of limitations for conspiracy, statutes associated with that, there are no statute of limitations until the conspiracy ends. They have continually hid an overt attempt at framing and setting up President Trump, and that's, even to this day, they're hiding that. So there are no statute of limitations pertaining to indicting anyone. Hillary Clinton is almost certainly going to be indicted by President Trump's administration, the DOJ. I do not believe at all that President Trump will indict former President Obama for a number of reasons we'll get to a little later. It happened under his administration. They set up and framed Donald Trump. Donald Trump was an innocent man. Say that a million times. Morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats. He was an innocent man, and you will see exactly why in a couple of seconds why Clinton, I believe, is the prime suspect, according to President Trump, in terms of people that set him up and framed him. First of all, in any corrupt or inept business or organization, people always turn on each other. So you can have James Comey testify against Hillary Clinton. Do you think that's possible? Very possible. He offered to testify against Andrew McCabe during a Jake Tapper interview on CNN. But DNC, Associated Press, DNC Clinton campaign agreed to steal Dossier. Fine. They literally, the state of New York went after Trump for a check Michael Cohen wrote to Stormy, which wasn't a campaign finance violation. The FEC dropped the case. And a state has no right to level a federal crime against anyone without the Department of Justice involved. And so the campaign finance violations that the state of New York leveled against Trump, or the Manhattan district attorney, that was not allowed by the Constitution to be leveled against Trump. The DOJ, the federal government, actually dropped the case. The federal government went and fined the Clinton campaign and the DNC for purchasing a dossier that Comey and McCabe and Clapper and Brennan and Strzok and all of them used. The dossier was purchased. That's why there's no BuzzFeed News anymore, because the entire thing was an overt lie. Now, a director of national intelligence, Gabbard, has found evidence to charge people. President Obama, according to President Trump, deserves to be indicted. I don't believe that's going to take place for a number of reasons. I do think since Clinton funded the dossier, and I do think since Jake Sullivan and others, so Hillary Clinton's top national security advisor, or national security and foreign policy staffer, who eventually became Biden's national security director of national intelligence, or top intel chief, he emailed top secret intel to Clinton. But the issue with the Clinton servers and the crimes there relate directly to why they set up and framed Trump. We'll get to that in a second, but listen to this. The Honorable James Comey.
We searched through all of it to understand what was there and what parts of the puzzle we could put back together again. FBI investigators also read all of the approximately 30,000 emails that Secretary Clinton provided to the State Department in 2014, where an email was assessed as possibly containing classified information. The FBI referred that email to any government agency that might be an owner of that information, so that agency could make a determination as to whether the email contained classified information at the time it was sent or received, or whether there was reason to classify it now, even if the content had not been classified when it was first sent or received. And that's the process sometimes referred to as up-classifying. From the group of 30,000 emails returned to the State Department in 2014, 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time they were sent or received. 8 of those chains contained information that was top secret at the time they were sent. 36 of those chains contained secret information at the time, and 8 contained confidential information at the time. That's the lowest level of classification.
So Director Comey was almost certainly lying by omission. He never explained how the data got to Clinton's private servers, which is an obvious, overt criminal act. Everyone involved in that, either transferring the information or covering up how the information was transferred, could be indicted, because you can't, there's the statute of limitations might have run out on specific elements of the Clinton email probe, but if they restart it again, game over. So, or if it's linked to setting up President Trump and there's no statute of limitations for that type of conspiracy in terms of those statutes, because it's still ongoing, then he can easily indict a whole bunch of people, including Clinton. The tie-in is the following. This was the greatest cybersecurity nightmare of all time. This is the greatest national security debacle, one of the greatest national security debacles we've ever had in this country or in the world. The Secretary of State had private servers. Half of her emails were missing, and you'll hear the first 3 months of her emails are non-existent. They had top secret and special access and confidential and classified data, born classified. How did it go from the Department of Defense or the Department of Justice to Clinton's private servers? How is that even possible? That's a criminal act in and of itself, where I don't think the statute of limitations, I don't think there are statute of limitations in terms of how that data, the classified top secret intel, got to private servers. It is impossible to do. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet before I finally got some sense and understood that was the wrong side. I was on the wrong side of history for a number of reasons. They cheated Bernie Sanders. The WikiLeaks emails that were published everywhere, because they were journalists publishing the emails everywhere, were emails that showed that the Clinton campaign, the DNC, cheated Bernie Sanders. They don't even have functioning primaries. The absolute shame and embarrassment, in addition to the fact that Clinton had servers with top secret intel, illegally transferred data, where it's literally impossible to transfer top secret and special access program intelligence from government locations onto secret servers, which the entire planet almost certainly hacked. Every adversary almost certainly hacked everything on private servers. The issue is then that was the impetus or the reason they went after Trump and framed him. But listen to this.
In a hugely significant way. And the team also told me, we cannot finish this work before the election. And then they worked night after night after night, and they found thousands of new emails. They found classified information on Anthony Weiner. Somehow, her emails are being forwarded to Anthony Weiner, including classified information by her assistant, Huma Abedin. And so they found thousands of new emails. And
how can classified data be forwarded to Anthony Weiner, who was sending pictures of his last name to the entire, I don't even want to get into that salacious, sordid reason that he went to jail. But what does that even mean? That's another reason that Clinton will probably almost certainly get indicted eventually. I don't think President Obama will, for a number of reasons. But this is the reason they went after Trump and set him up and framed him. It was all a lie. Trump never had anything to do with Russia. It was the Clintons, it was the Bidens, it was the Democrats that had far greater ties. Uranium sale? Are you kidding? That they still defend? But it's like everybody knows. The whole thing was a lie from the beginning. The Democrats lived and breathed plausible deniability, but this is implausible. It's not even, they can't even they can't even hide behind plausible deniability anymore because it's so absurd. Check this out again.
Her emails are being forwarded to Anthony Weiner, including classified information, by her assistant, Huma Abedin. And so,
how on earth can the emails of a Secretary of State and a Democratic nominee for president be forwarded to Anthony Weiner, including classified data? That's just one. That's not even the most, like, I've written small pamphlets, okay, on this, okay? It's like books, whatever. This is unbelievable. That's not even the most absurd nonsense. Check this out.
so they found thousands of new emails and then called me the Saturday night before the election and said, thanks to the wizardry of our technology, we've only had to personally read 6,000. We think we can finish tomorrow morning, Sunday. And so I met with them. And they said, we found a lot of new stuff. We did not find anything that changes our view of her intent. So we're in the same place we were in July. It hasn't changed our view. And I asked them lots of questions. And I said, okay.
Comey speaks to people as if we're all morons. The problem is that we're not. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is impossible to, this is an impossible situation. Clinton will almost certainly get indicted.